Have you ever gone above and beyond for a total stranger? I was heading home from a late shift at the hospital. The storm had picked up, and I was rushing to my car when I noticed an elderly man struggling with a flat tire in the parking lot. Most people hurried past, hunched against the rain. Something made me stop. Need some help? I called out, already knowing I'd be soaked through by the time I got home. He looked up, rainwater streaming down his weathered face. Oh, I couldn't trouble you. The roadside assistance should be here. Eventually, I checked my watch. Nearly 11 p.m. I'm happy to help. No one should be out in this weather longer than necessary. His name was Gerald, 78 years old and soaked to the bone. As I worked on changing his tire, he told me he'd been visiting his wife in the oncology ward. Married 52 years, he said, his voice catching. She's been fighting for 3 years now. The doctors say, well, they say it won't be much longer. My hand stilled on the lug wrench. I'm so sorry. She wanted her favorite book, he continued, pointing to a plastic-wrapped package on the passenger seat. I drove across town to our old house to get it. Silly maybe, but these little things matter now. The rain pounded harder as I finished securing the spare tire. It wasn't in great shape, but it would get him home. Thank you truly, Gerald said, attempting to press $20 into my palm. I shook my head. Please keep it. I'm just glad I could help. As he got into his car, something didn't feel right. That spare tire looked dangerously worn, and the storm was intensifying. Actually, I heard myself saying, would you mind if I followed you home, just to make sure you get there safely? The relief in his eyes was immediate. That would be wonderful if it's not too much trouble. It was a 30-minute drive in the opposite direction of my apartment. Gerald lived in a small house on the outskirts of town. When we arrived, he invited me in for tea to warm up. I should have declined. I was exhausted from my 12-hour shift, but something in his demeanor, the slight tremble in his hands, the way his eyes kept drifting to the empty armchair by the window, made me accept. Over tea, he showed me photos of his wife, Margaret, their wedding day in 1968, vacations with their children, recent holidays where her smile remained bright despite her thinning frame. I don't know how to do this, he confessed quietly. How to say goodbye, how to be alone after half a century together. I stayed for 2 hours that night. We talked about Margaret, about their life together, about his fears for the future. Before leaving, I wrote down my number. Call me anytime, I told him, for anything. 3 days later, he did call. Margaret had taken a turn. Could I come to the hospital? I went immediately. Not as a nurse, but as the friend Gerald somehow needed me to be. I sat with him through the night as Margaret drifted in and out of consciousness. I brought him coffee and made sure he ate. When she passed peacefully the next morning, I was there to catch him when he collapsed in grief. The following weeks, I helped Gerald navigate funeral arrangements. I drove him to appointments. I listened to his stories and his silences. Gerald says I saved him, but in many ways, finding connection when I least expected it saved something in me too.